This is the Financial Beat, helping you hit all the right notes in your financial plan. So sit back as we strike up the band. The Financial Beat with Logan Sadler starts now.
Welcome to the Financial Beat. As we always say, the beat goes on, even on a holiday weekend. Logan Sadler is here to talk about getting you to and through retirement. Logan, of course, the VP and Chief Investment Officer at Regary Financial. Offices in Hemet and Redlands, wherever you are in Southern California. Thank you so much for being here, spending a little time with us. My name is Ron Stutz, and Logan, how you doing, buddy?
I tell you what, Ron, I'm doing pretty good today. How about yourself?
Not bad at all, and I love Thanksgiving weekend. The whole weekend is really good. You can spend time, with your family and just being thankful for what you got.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's as every year the holidays come so fast and they go so fast, but you got to enjoy the afterthoughts as well as the recovery, right, from all the turkey. And I don't know about you, but one of my favorite things about Thanksgiving is I love those turkey sandwiches. I always like to throw an extra turkey in.
Yeah.
That way we have those extra sandwiches for a few days after because they're quite good.
Yeah, nothing wrong with a turkey sandwich with all that leftover turkey and a little salt, mayonnaise. I don't know how you make yours.
That's exactly how I make it right there. I throw in a little salt, pepper, and mayonnaise. That's really all it needs. If you're getting crazy, you could throw a little ham on there.
Exactly, man. I don't know about you, but Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday because you just got to be thankful for what you have. Spend time with people you love and eat some great food and maybe watch a little football in there too.
Exactly. I'm with you. I think it's up there for my favorite one, and we may have talked about this in the last segment of the show last week, but I like it because there's just no you don't have to get anybody any gifts or anything like that. There's no pressure. It's really just, it's more, to me, more about family and just kind of hanging out and being grateful.
Yeah, exactly right. Hey, Logan, let me put your phone number out there since I have neglected to do so. I got overwhelmed by all the turkey talk. 888-823-PLAN. That is your number to call, Regary Financial. You can have a conversation with Logan Sadler that's not going to cost you anything and not going to obligate you to do anything at all. 888-823-PLAN. One more time, that is 888-823-PLAN. Logan, I know you work with a lot of folks over the years, and this is a time of the year to also, as we're coming up on the end of 2022 here, a good time of the year to be thankful for all those clients that you've had over the years, and particularly this year, and all those great folks you've gotten a chance to know.
Yeah, you're truly right on that. It's been such a great year for our firm, and even though there's a lot going on in the world, it's just been great to connect with existing clients that have been around a while, with us for a while, as well as always, appreciative of the new ones we get and the referrals we get from existing clients. But it's one of my favorite times of the year. We're doing our, as those of you listening in California know, it's been a tough few years as far as parties go. So we're very excited. This could be our first client Christmas party. We're getting back to our old traditions, and so there's going to be about 150 people at this client party that we're going to do for our existing clients, and just kind of a thank you. And it's going to be good just hanging around and seeing everybody. And we always like to make it not about financials, just really let's touch base on a personal note and a family note and see how things are going, and just say thank you for a great year and enjoy it, right? That's kind of my favorite part about those parties.
Just have a good time together, and it's good to see everybody because, with COVID and everything, this the last couple of years, I mean, it's been easy to get separated from folks and just not spend as much time together, and now things have finally gotten back to normal to a degree, and I know you're looking forward to that.
Yeah, I am. It's funny you mentioned that. We have one client who's been with us. She's been with us probably 15 years, maybe a little bit longer, and we have not seen her in 2 years, just obviously because she had some concerns with COVID and all that stuff, and so we've talked to her a bunch on the phone, but she came in the other day and just stopped by, and it was like, man, it was just so good to see her,
Well, I know that, one of the best things about Thanksgiving weekend is the fact that you get, not only there's leftovers, as you were talking about, but for the main meal, I mean, there's turkey and dressing and all those, casseroles that tend to go along with it, cranberry sauce, all that kind of stuff. But there are, I don't know how much turkey I consume every year, but it's a lot. But the average American consumes 23 pounds of pizza every year. and that's year-round, not just during the holidays.
Man. It's funny. We may have talked about pizza before, and I may have put myself out there, but that is actually probably my favorite food. I feel like pizza is something that it goes with every meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And, it's funny you're catching me on a week where I've actually had pizza 2 days in a row now. So I probably am up there with that 23 pounds or maybe even a little bit over. But it is amazing to think that the average American consumes 23 pounds of pizza per year. That's a lot of dough, a lot of cheese, and some pepperonis or whatever it is people order on their pizza nowadays.
That is really amazing out there, and pizza is so readily available. You got all these major chains, number one, but then these small restaurants and mom and pop operations even are famous for their pizza, and some of that stuff is the best ever.
I don't know about you, Ron, but when I see a wood-burned oven, when they're doing it with the wood, that you just know that pizza is going to be good. I mean, it's just got a whole different flavor. And like you said, some of those chains, they have obviously a really great, dependable pizza, you can call it, but some of those mom and pops do a really great job as well.
I love it, man. And I love doing business with local folks, too.
Me too.
People who are out there just trying to make a living,
Yep. I'll go out of my way sometimes to help them out for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, me too. And Logan, we wanted to take everybody's mind off turkey for just a second here by talking about pizza. But, a lot of people take a road trip during the holidays. And let's talk about that in our next segment of the show here, because there's a lot to that topic. And road trips are important to a lot of people. I don't know about you, but I love hitting the road and going for a drive somewhere. And it's fun. But we'll talk about that in just a second. But in the meantime, why is it so important for folks to call your office now and arrange to get one of those one-on-one conversations with you?
Yeah, it's a good time. I mean, the end of the year is coming up here, and a lot of people have a lot of goals and dreams coming up for the next year. And so it's always a really good time for those of you out there that are either getting close to retirement, maybe have a retirement plan currently, but aren't necessarily comfortable with it or understand the ins and outs and are looking for something that might be a little bit more custom fit to your situation. That's exactly what our office is here for, where we give that complimentary discovery meeting, we call it, where we spend some time, get together, and either in person or via Zoom, and we can go and take a deep dive into your situation, analyze what it is you're trying to accomplish, and really get you on track to transition into retirement, or if you're currently in retirement, maybe enhance it and give you a little bit more confidence in this next phase of life.
888-823-PLAN. That is your number to call if you like one of those discovery meetings, and so many folks take advantage of that opportunity every week. If you would like to get to know Logan and have him get to know you, then all you got to do is call that number. There's no cost and no obligation. 888-823-PLAN. 888-823-PLAN. Your number to call for Regary Financial. Now, there are two convenient offices in Redlands and Hemet. And if you want to have a conversation first on the phone, that's a way to arrange it. You can also do it via Zoom. Maybe you might want to eventually come into the office and have a conversation. Either way, it's called a discovery meeting, so you can discover things about Logan. He can discover things about you. It's just that simple. 888-823-PLAN. No cost, no obligation. You're listening to The Financial Beat. Ron Stutz here along with Logan Sadler. We'll be right back with more in just a moment.
We talk a lot about creating a better 401k, but are we actually taking steps to do so? Maybe it's time to stop talking the talk and start walking the walk. By texting the word advice to 21,000, Logan Sadler can provide you with his 401k action steps, a guide that provides you with powerful information that could potentially save you thousands in taxes and fees and put you one step ahead when it comes to your retirement. So text the word advice to the number 21,000 today. For this special report, text the word advice to the number 21,000.
Don't you want to see sharp and not be flat in retirement? This is The Financial Beat.
We're back now with more of The Financial Beat. Logan Sadler is on the radio. Go tell everybody you know. 888-823-PLAN. Logan is the Vice President and Chief Investment Officer at Regary Financial. And Regary Financial has been around for a very long time. Many of the clients with Regary have more than 25 years of experience with Regary Financial. Logan works with 3 different generations of some of the client families, and they have great partnerships with local CPAs, attorneys, real estate agents, mortgage lenders, and Medicare specialists. They help offer you well-rounded guidance in all things financial. You can get a discovery meeting, no cost whatsoever. 888-823-PLAN, 888-823-PLAN. Call today. Leave a message with your name and phone number. You'll get a call back first part of the week, and you can arrange a convenient time to have a conversation with Logan about your situation. And again, that all-important number is 888-823-PLAN. In our last segment, Logan, we talked about road trips, and if you're heading on a road trip, there's a long checklist of items that you want to be sure you haven't forgotten. And in retirement planning, some of those same items need to be addressed. So let's look at some of the items that should appear on both your road trip checklist and your retirement planning checklist. First of all, obviously, you need to decide in advance where you're going. The same applies when it comes to getting ready for your retirement.
Yeah, it does. It's funny because my mentor and our founder of our company, Hugh Regari, used to always say that quote, that people spend more time planning a vacation than they do a retirement. And I hate to say it, but man, he's right. I see a lot of these people, and when they get ready for a vacation, and a lot of us are that way, we have everything planned out to a T, right? We know where we're going to go, where we're going to stop, what route we're going to take. Also, what happens if there's if there's traffic or if there's road construction, we know an alternative route, right? But when it comes time for retirement planning, sometimes people just say, man, I want to be retired, right? And that's about sometimes as far as the planning goes. And what we really find and that is very important is when you're getting ready to start a retirement plan, you need to identify what your destination is. And to a lot of people, that sounds crazy, right? Well, obviously it's to retire, but how do you envision that retirement, right? What are you going to do with your time? Where do you want to travel? How do you want to live? Where do you want to live? As well as what type of income are you going to have coming in to make those types of things happen, right? It's something where you really got to, we call it charting out your course, because it's a really important to understand what type of what type of a retirement are you looking at, as far as what type of income do we need, what tax bracket are you going to be in, what type of inflation needs do you have built into that retirement plan, and also like it sounds crazy, but how do you envision all of that coming together? And that is what allows us to kind of to get to the drawing board and start putting together the investment solutions, the tax recommendations, all those different things that might fall into line with a retirement plan to get that going. But it starts first with, where are we going with this retirement?
So many similarities between going on a road trip and getting to and through retirement. These days, you need to determine your route. I mean, there are so many folks who get in the car and then hit the GPS. And I would submit to you that Logan Sadler can be your GPS.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Ronnie. I got a pretty good sense of direction, especially when it comes time for financials. And it is funny, like you said, remember road trips a couple of years ago, not even that long ago. If some people are, 40 years ago. No, I mean, some of it's only 10 or 15 years ago, before everybody had a GPS on their phone, right? You used to kind of print out maps, or they had the TomTom and stuff like that. There was a lot of different ways to get directions.
Yeah, I can remember with a highlighter. You'd take out the map, unfold it and everything, and use a yellow highlighter and highlight your way.
Yeah, it's the way people did things, right? And that's how they did it, and somehow it worked. And with retirement planning, I feel like it's very important to determine your route, and that means answering a lot of these different questions, right? I mean, how much risk are you willing to take in your retirement? What types of investments are going to get the job done for you? There's a lot of that goes into it. I was meeting with a client actually who just came on board with our firm a few weeks ago, and she's a single woman who is retired. And she had a pretty good pension to where she didn't have a whole lot to worry about income-wise. And so she thought, I could just retire. She had a 457, could just leave it where it was. And that was about as far as her planning went, right? She knew that she had a pension to meet her goals as far as income goes. Well, now she's 5 years into this retirement, and all of a sudden she's saying, you know what? Inflation has gone up very high. I'm still saving a lot of money. I got a lot of money in the bank put away. I have a 457 that I have done nothing with, right? She just kind of left it where it was. And so, she has been listening to the radio show actually, and also had watched one of our webinars. And it was one of those things where there was just so many types of planning tools that were out there, as far as identifying what type of risk is out there, getting legacy plans set up, looking at things from a tax perspective. A lot of that stuff needs to go into that retirement plan to help determine, what your route is going to be in retirement, and get something that's a little bit more fit to what it is you're trying to accomplish. And I think one of the other things that goes really well into that, Ron, is really help determining who's going to coach you, who's going to help you and guide you along the way. And, it's something that I feel most of the people that I'm meeting with that are coming in or coming on board with our firm are looking for that coach to help navigate them through that, to help create that roadmap for them in their retirement.
Well, you're remarkable. You just led me into my next question here. Decide, when you're going on a road trip or when you're planning for retirement, you need to decide what you're going to listen to, like what kind of music you're going to listen to on the way and all that kind of thing. All that stuff is so helpful. But at the same time, when you're planning on getting to and through retirement, what kind of advice are you going to listen to? You're going to listen to Logan Sadler or listen to all those crazy headlines that are out there every day?
Yeah, it's something that's something that's very true, and it always shocks me where people, and I don't mean just clients, but I mean even family members or friends or people that people I'm around, and it just always shocks me where people get their information from and how much they take that to heart or will make decisions based off that information, right? It could be somebody just talking on the news that you should buy XYZ stock. They're like, hey, so-and-so said on the news I should buy it, so I bought it, right? And that's about as far as their investigation went on whether that was a good fit for them. As well as we've all heard, well, my brother-in-law does this with his investments, so that's what I did. Or somebody at work told me to put my money in this 401k fund because that's what his brother-in-law's friend uncles told him, right? And then guess what? They do it. So it's funny because it's really important on who you're going to listen to and who you're going to get your information from. And I tell a lot of people that it's very important to make sure financials are so, to me, in my opinion, they're so customized, or should be so customized to your situation, because I've met with thousands of people throughout the years. Our firm has just been around for a long time, and there's been a lot of people come in the door and come on board. And I've seen it 1,000 different ways, right, where things should be done differently, or this tax recommendation or this tax, advantage or tax efficiency could be done here, but it couldn't be done there. Here's where you should take Social Security. Here's where you shouldn't take it, right? So it's different for everybody. So it's very important that when if you have a good financial advisor, I think it's super important to find a good team to surround yourself with. That's why we're big preachers of, we are the financial advisors, so we do all the investments, recommendations, financial planning, and it's important to have a good CPA and an estate planning attorney around too, to make sure that you can orchestrate the tax returns as well as looking at your estate plan to make sure things are done from a legal perspective. So it's just so important that you have the right voices and the right team around you in retirement.
You're listening to the Financial Beat with Logan Sadler, Regari Financial. Wherever you are in Southern California today, thank you so much for being with us. If you're going on a long road trip, if you're going to go up into Oregon and Washington, you when you get the chance, it might be a good idea to use cruise control once in a while. And, sometimes not. But how in the world do you relate that to your financial life, Logan?
Yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, in your financial life, it's also nice to have some things on cruise control, right? I mean, or at least a lot of you listening might think, man, that might be nice for some peace of mind, right? And I think you'll always have changes that will require tweaking or adjustments, right? I always tell people we do a lot of work up front with our clients that decide to come on board. As I mention all the time, we do 3 meetings with all of our new clients before they come on board. The discovery meeting is just meeting 1 to get to understand. You get to just get to meet each other, understand what it is you're looking for, and take a deep dive into what you're trying to look for. And then meeting 2 is typically when we're crafting those financial plans and looking at everything. And then meeting 3 is when we decide we're going to implement the plan. And we do a lot of upfront work. But I always tell people, next year it might change, right? In 5 years it might change. 3 years it might change. There's always tweaking and adjustments that are going to be required to the plan for some things, right? Now, I always say it's nice to have some things on cruise control if possible. And by cruise control, I mean typically predictability and reliability, right? You want 2 of those things in your retirement plan, especially when we're talking paychecks. A lot of people, when they're coming into our office and getting ready to retire or getting close to retirement, the number one concern is, where is my paycheck going to come from, right? How am I going to generate a good income? And so we have a lot of our clients that want predictable and income that's going to come in that they know they can count on, right? And they know that it's going to be there, and they kind of know how long it's going to be there, as well as to know that they could spend with confidence into their retirement plan. So you definitely want to have some sort of cruise control on your retirement plan, because you don't want to be waking up every day wondering what the dividend is that day on that stock or that mutual fund to make sure you're getting your income. You want to know that you have some predictability there and knowing that you have something to rely on to carry you through retirement. So I think think that was a great segment, I feel, where the road trip does relate a lot to financial planning, and it's something that we really take all four of these considerations into how to plan for retirement and what we're doing with our clients to get them on a better course to help give them a blueprint and a roadmap into their next phase of life and retirement. So if you're one of those people listening and you don't have a roadmap yet, you haven't sat down or charted out your course, and you're getting closer to retirement, maybe it's approaching yourself in the next 3 to 5 years, or maybe it's tomorrow, I think it's a good time to give us a call, and let's sit down and see if we can't get you on course for your retirement.
888-823-PLAN. That is 888-823-7526. But the easy way to remember it is by using the word plan, which is essential in your thoughts as you get ready for retirement. 888-823-PLAN. Get a financial roadmap, if you will, from Logan Sadler and the good folks at Regari Financial. And Logan, of course, as I've mentioned before, has great partnerships with local CPAs, attorneys, mortgage lenders, real estate agents, even Medicare specialists to help offer you well-rounded guidance in all things financial at Regari Financial. Logan Sadler is on the radio. Go tell everybody you know, because he has some more important topics to talk about here. 888-823-PLAN is your number to call right now. You can arrange to have a conversation, a discovery meeting, if you will, for absolutely no cost, and there's no obligation involved. No strings attached, in other words. Why not call 888-823-PLAN? You're listening to the Financial Beat, and the beat will go on in just a moment.
Are you concerned about living too long? Do you worry about the cost of health care in the future? These are a few of the signs that permanent life insurance could be for you. Logan Sadler of Regari Financial will help you recognize the rest of the signs. Text the word advice to the number 21000 to download this free guide to understanding permanent life insurance. Text advice to 21000. Permanent life insurance isn't for everyone, but it could make a dramatic difference in your financial life. Text advice to 21000 to find out if that's the case.
It's getting to know you time.
You're listening to the Financial Beat with the one and only Logan Sadler. And Logan, I'm going to ask you an off-the-wall question here. We're in the holiday season now. I guess you could officially say that. Who is the best gift giver you know?
Oh man, that's a tough question, because I could be throwing some people under the bus here. But no, I think most of the people in my family, even my wife, would probably agree with this. I would think my mom is probably the best gift giver. She's one of those people that she typically goes the extra mile, and sometimes she'll get you something you didn't even know you needed, and then all of a sudden you get it and you're like, that's what was missing from my life. So yeah, I would definitely say my mom on that. She's great. I don't know how she does it, but she has been very, very consistent with gifts for everybody. Is always pretty shocked with whatever she gets.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, know, it's always good to have somebody like that in your family. And I would say that my wife is the best gift giver that I know.
That's good.
She spends a lot of time thinking about things and shops year round for people for holiday gifts. So
that would have been my safe answer, so I don't get in trouble. But no, I'm joking.
But you said your wife would probably agree with it.
She would probably agree. I hope so.
You're listening to the Financial Beat, and if Logan Sadler survives these next couple of minutes, we'll have more coming up in just a moment.
We all know Congress has approved trillions of dollars in spending the past year with stimulus packages, infrastructure plans, and other programs. It's all on top of the tens of trillions of dollars of debt our nation already owes. Yet we're living with some of the lowest tax rates in history. Now, how long do you think that's going to last? Learn how you can prepare for future tax implications by watching Logan Sadler of Regari Financial's exclusive webinar, How Tax Planning Changes Through the 4 Stages of Retirement. Just text the word advice to the number 21000. And we'll text you back a link to the webinar right away. Text advice to 21000 and make sure you don't have to pay a cent more in taxes than you have to. To access the free webinar right now, text advice to 21000.
This is the Financial Beat.
We're back now with more of the Financial Beat, and the beat goes on, as they say. Logan, of course, here on the radio show, and if you'd like to reach Logan, you can call this number, 888-823-PLAN. Simply call that number today, leave a message with your name and phone number, and you'll get a call back, 888-823-PLAN, 888-823-PLAN. This show, of course, all about getting you to and through retirement. Logan, not only do you have this radio show, I am proud to be a part of it, but you also have podcasts out there for folks, and even your own YouTube channel for the folks who might have just joined us and might not have been listening to the show for a while. Explain how they get those.
Yeah, so you can head over to podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Some of you guys, it might be Apple Music, Amazon, Spotify, and you can type in The Financial Beat with Logan Sadler, and it'll populate over 75 episodes now of recordings of this radio show for you guys to listen to whenever, wherever you're at and whenever you want to download at your convenience and check those out. Again, 75 of them, so one of those is bound to kind of pertain to somewhat of your situation out there to give you some insight, as well as we have the YouTube channel. So those of you guys that have been listening to the show and haven't yet, you can go ahead and go over to The Financial Beat on YouTube and go ahead and check out some of our videos on there. We do a lot of different short clips on different retirement education for you guys to go check out. And again, videos updated weekly on there for you. And again, lots of different information for you, no matter where you're at on that retirement planning journey.
You know, Logan, a lot of people out there, really, they want to be secure in their retirement, but there are still folks out there who lie awake every night worried about outliving their money and all things financial. Financial security might mean different things to different people, but for nearly everybody, making sure that they achieve their own definition of security is the most important part of their retirement plan. Tell us about the discussions you have with people when they express some of these various elements I'm going to mention here of financial security. There are some folks I know who have told you, Logan, I don't want to be a burden on my kids regardless of what my health situation turns out to be.
Yeah, that's something we've heard a lot. It's one of those big concerns. I always tell people sometimes we meet with a lot of our clients' kids as well, right? They either come on and become clients or they start handling some of their clients, some of their parents' affairs down the road, right? And I always tell them it's some people are very shocked, and it's, you got to think about it like you're in their shoes, right? So most of these independent people, right, a lot of the retirees we're dealing with, they're very independent, or they like to have somewhat of some independence, right? And so all of a sudden, you can't expect them just to flip everything over and say, yeah, I'm going to move in with you, you're going to take care of everything, you're going to take care of me as my health decreases, right? That's not typically everybody's goal of what they're trying to accomplish. I see this a lot where a lot of the times they'd rather, as they're getting older, have the means, whether that's, long-term care insurance, whether that's different investments to be able to cover a lot of those expenses, to keep some of that independence as they transition to that next phase of life, right? And so I tell people a lot, it's one of those difficult situations to go through. Those of you listening to this show right now that have had a parent or family member or somebody go through that transition, it's very tough. And I've seen it with a lot of our different clients, as well as I've went through it with a lot of our family members, and it's a tough one to go through. But a lot of people's biggest fear is that they don't want to have to be a financial burden on their kids as well as an emotional burden, right? So I think it's very important to have that covered in the financial plan of, hey, this is great. We have retirement income set up. We know what our retirement's going to look like. We know where our income's coming from. We know our risk, but what's going to happen as our health kind of decreases? What is our game plan? Because again, a lot of us, it's not if, it's when, right? Because we know it's going to happen at some point. If we keep living, health is bound to go one way or another at some point. So it's just so important to get that planned out and have a game plan for it.
I mentioned this in the run-up to this conversation, and that is the fact a lot of people worry about outliving their money, and a lot of folks have told you when it comes to financial security, they want to be sure that they never run out of money. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of us, when clients come in, Ron, it's interesting. I always ask them at our discovery meeting. We have a huge questionnaire, and I ask clients, our prospective clients, give me your top 3 concerns. And again, they're all different for everybody, but typically one of the most common ones, like 9 times out of 10 you hear, is running out of money, right? It's one of those things where I think when you talk about taxes or inflation or long-term care, all that's not ideal, right? It scares a lot of people, but running out of money, it's hard to think of anything scarier than all of a sudden you're, 75 years old or 85 years old and there is no more money left, right? Yeah. That is just, for a lot of us, we could agree on that one, that is terrifying, right? So I totally understand that concept, and there is a lot of different ways to plan for that. Now, a lot of people out there, Ron, are looking for guaranteed income. I heard someone the other day ask me, why are different types of, annuities or different types of dividends or different types of, income producing vehicles, why are they so popular right now? And I would say it's because most people, that is one of their biggest concerns, is running out of money. So in their game plan for retirement, in that financial plan, you got to have some level of safety and income in there. And for a lot of people, that falls into 3 categories, right? That falls into fixed index annuities that have a guaranteed income rider on them. That comes from Social Security, or that comes from a pension, right? Those are really the 3 forms out there that have a guaranteed income stream on them. So a lot of people are searching for that. And again, it's super important to find out if those are right fits for you, right? And how they work and how they'll benefit your plan. But we're seeing a lot of people right now wanting some of their money in some of those income streams because they want some guarantees out of them. So it's definitely a big one to look at. And that's definitely one of the things we help a lot of our clients plan for, on how to, either eliminate that risk or hedge against that risk of running out of money.
You're listening to Logan Sadler on the Financial Beat. I'm Rod Stutz, and we're talking about financial security. And, a really sad situation is when some folks fail to plan very well for retirement, and then they absolutely have to go back to work in order to make everything work and to pay all their bills and all that kind of thing. A lot of folks have told you, Logan, after I retire, I want to be able to work part-time if I want to, but not because I have to.
Yeah. No, that's a big one. I wish I had that. So I should have better prepared for that question, because I had a statistic for that, and I'll say it, but it might be a little off. But we used to do that at one of our in-person events we used to do all the time, because that is something you hear a lot, Ron. Oh, I got a little bit of money saved up. I got some pensions or a Social Security. I got a 401k, but I'm not really worried. I'm going to go back to work part-time in retirement or do something, Yeah. And I would say the statistic would say, I think it's like 72% of the time, people say they're going to do some sort of work in retirement, whether it's part-time or passion-driven or whatever it is. And only 34% of those people actually did that. Right? Oh, yeah. So not a very good statistic of the ones that actually do. But you want to be able to put yourself in a situation where you can work if you want to, but you don't have to. I've seen a lot of clients that are business owners. Maybe they have a succession plan where someone younger comes in, or they sell the business and still work there. I've seen a lot of those, as well as I've seen some clients where maybe they have a very stressful job. Maybe they're, like I said, we work with a lot of nurses at Kaiser, Loma Linda, Redlands, all these different hospitals out and around our area. And, a lot of them have a very stressful job, work a lot of different hours, and they want something a little bit more slower pace as they transition to retirement. So we do see some of our clients go out there and do that, but they have the money to where they don't have to. I think that's really the golden gem there with the retirement plan, is to get things set up to where that you could go back to work if you wanted to, but if not, you have enough income and your assets are structured properly to carry out that retirement need and that income need in retirement.
Logan, there are some folks out there who are thinking about, perhaps medical issues or other emergencies that pop up, and they may say, if I need a knee replacement or a new transmission for my truck, I don't want that to prevent me from spoiling my grandkids at Christmas. What do you tell them?
Yeah, it's I tell the same joke all the time, but it's so true, right? People are absolutely shocked when I tell them that unexpected things still happen in retirement. A lot of people think that they think they're going to retire. They're in the golf course. Every day is sunshine, right? But, things still happen. And that's why it's so important to have income in retirement, having a guaranteed income stream, or at least an income we know is going to be there, as well as having an emergency fund, as well as extra liquidity in there, because, unexpected things are going to happen. That knee replacement's going to come up. That that roof leak, your new tires in your truck, your car broke down, a new motorhome, whatever it is. There's so many things that still happen in our retirement, and we need to make sure we have a plan in place to look at, okay, if this happens, I still have some money to pull from here. It's not going to affect my income, and just make sure things are structured properly, because I see it time and time again where things still happen in retirement where we got to plan for the unexpected.
Yeah, and it's like that old Beatles song, obla-dee, obla-da, life goes on.
Yep.
Doesn't mean that, those problems are going to stop popping up. That's for sure.
No, they're always there.
One more thing I wanted to mention here, and we kind of alluded to this earlier. A lot of folks say, Logan, I don't want to watch my accounts constantly jump up and down. I don't want to be stressed out all the time because of that. What's the solution to that?
Yeah, that's a great point, Ron. I mean, a lot of our clients that come in here, as I always mention, are typically planning and preparing for retirement. A lot of them are We have a lot under 40, I would say, but there's 90% of our clients or so, I would say, are probably over the age of 55. And, it's one of those things where it is very common to kind of get that mindset of, I've either been in the market for a while or I've been very aggressive for a while. It's done me very well, but man, I don't know if I could take much more of this in my retirement. I'm getting ready to start drawing income out of this, or I'm going to need large chunks of it each year for income, and or maybe I don't need income, and I just don't want to take the risk of watching this money bounce up and down too much because I would like to pass some of this on, or whatever whatever the issues are. And that's something we see a lot of the time, and I think that's why we feel it's so important to make sure that you're really diversified and make sure you're utilizing a lot of different investment tools that can sometimes help balance out that consistency of jumping up and down. And there's a lot of different tools we use for some clients out there that might be, structured notes to lower risk, different market strategies, bonds, all this different stuff, as well as fixed index annuities to sometimes help lower that risk volatility depending on what the clients need. But it's something where you're not alone out there. A lot of our prospects that we're meeting with are clients that are coming on board. It's one of those times where it's very important to make sure you understand what your risk tolerance is and making sure that investment fits that risk tolerance, because it's something where a lot of the times as people transition to retirement, they're looking to lower the volatility of their portfolio, and there's a lot better ways to do that than others. In the old days, you just threw it all in bonds and you'd typically be okay, or you put it all in CDs and you'd probably be okay. But right now, it's a very tricky time to make sure you're navigating that correctly, and a lot of the times, you need a good financial advisor to help utilize a lot of these different tools to make sure that it's the right fit for you and you're not just getting pitched a product, but making sure that it actually fits into what your retirement plan is and making sure that you're still on course to have that successful retirement you wanted. So that's exactly, those of you listening to the show, that is exactly what our firm does. So anybody out there that is looking at this market volatility and their retirement plan has kind of been all over the map maybe this last year or so, and looking for a way to kind of level out some of that volatility and get more of a game plan together for this phase of life and getting things a little bit more consistent and looking at things that are going to benefit you and your retirement, definitely time to give us a call. I'd love to sit down and spend an hour with you.
888-823-PLAN, 888-823-PLAN. Your number to call if you'd like to have a discovery meeting with Logan Sadler. And by that, I mean you can discover things about him. He can discover things about you. He can give you much more specific answers to your questions. And you're going to get a lot of answers to questions that you have and maybe some answers to some questions you didn't know you needed to ask. 888-823-PLAN is your number to call to make that happen. A discovery meeting won't cost you anything, won't obligate you to do anything at all. But you can gain a lot of security, and a lot of this stuff that we talk about is about peace of mind. And it seems to me that if you have a financial roadmap, as we discussed earlier, you'll know where you're going and how you're going to be able to get there. It's all on paper for you, and you can understand how it's all going to work. It's like having a GPS in your car as opposed to not having one. 888-823-PLAN is your number to call for Regari Financial. Logan Sadler is the guy you will talk to in that discovery meeting. You call right now, leave a message with your name and number. You'll get a call back first part of the week, and then you can arrange a convenient time to have that conversation. 888-823-PLAN. Logan Sadler is on the show, and we'll be right back with more in just a moment.
If you've spent the majority of your life diligently saving for your retirement future and have accumulated a nice sum, then listen up. Logan Sadler of Regari Financial has compiled a special guide for high net worth investors, exploring 9 investment pitfalls. Get the guide now to see how many mistakes you might be exposed to with your current financial plan. Text the word advice to 21,000. Learn about risk, diversification, taxes, emotional decision making, and much more. Just text the word advice to the number 21,000.
You're listening to The Financial Beat, striking the right chords in your financial plan.
We're back now with more of The Financial Beat. As they always say, the beat goes on. Logan Sadler is on the radio show, and we appreciate your being here today. 888-823-PLAN. You have made a very good decision to spend some time with Logan, and it's 888-823-PLAN. Once again, that's your number to call if you'd like to have a one-on-one conversation with him. And Logan, of course, works with all 3 generations of some of the client families at Regari Financial. Many clients have been with the firm for more than a quarter of a century, and has folks all over the area with, he's helping them with their retirement planning, whether you're in California or wherever you are in the country. There are folks who who depend on Logan to help them get to and through retirement. One more time, that number is 888-823-PLAN. Hey, Logan, I dug up this old quote here for you. I think you'll enjoy this one. It's from Zig Ziglar.
Oh, yeah.
A positive speaker. I mean, he was always about positive thinking, that's for sure.
He was.
Yeah. One thing he said, and I'm not really sure how true this is these days, but back when he said it, it was true. I have no doubt. He said, rich people have small TVs and big libraries, and poor people have small libraries and big TVs. What in the world did he mean by that?
Yeah, like you said, the quote might be a little bit outdated these days because most people now their libraries are small, right? And they got ebooks or whatever it is. But I get what he's saying there. I mean, I think a lot of the people that that are very successful in life or driven in life, a lot of them spend a lot more time educating themselves and putting more money back into themselves and learning than they do, buying fun and fancy things. I always say it is funny because some of our multi-million-dollar clients that we have, it's funny because they drive a pretty normal car, right? A lot of them don't drive that brand new Mercedes or brand new truck every year. Some of them do, but not all of them. So it is funny that I get what he's saying there about a lot of those successful people typically reinvesting in their knowledge and reinvesting in themselves.
Yeah, it really is amazing. I was on the same wavelength here thinking about that. A lot of rich people, you would never know that they are rich. And, they're not driving a fancy car. They're driving some kind of, beat up compact car.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, if you go on a road trip sometimes, you'll see somebody who lives in a very small house and they've got a big, a Cadillac or a BMW or a Mercedes or something sitting out front of the house.
Yeah, I've seen it, and I've seen it other ways too, right? Where sometimes they like the fancy things, but most of the time, like you said, some of our most wealthiest clients, they live a pretty simple lifestyle.
Yeah, that's for sure. Hey, let's go to the mailbag here. We have some great questions waiting for you. The first one is from Steve in Orange County, and he has a very simple but very direct and very appropriate question today. What should I be investing in to prepare for a recession?
Gotcha. Yeah, right to the point there, Steve. I like it. Of course, for everybody, it's very hard to give advice without knowing each of your individual situations and kind of what you have in your playbook, I call it. But, I think one of the things, Steve, that to give you some ideas, what we do with a lot of our clients when we're one of those clients that's a little bit more concerned with recessions or market volatility, and we're looking to either lower that or try to get some type of control on it, a lot of what we do goes into understanding what type of risk we are comfortable with, right? Because some clients are comfortable with a 20% market loss, and some aren't comfortable with more than a 5% market loss, right? Just depending on the client, what situation they have. So we, as our firm, what we do is we work with a lot of different investments that we'll kind of use and utilize for each individual, depending on what it is their situation calls for. But there's a lot of different things out there, like structured notes. We use a lot of these structured bank notes that have some downside protection to them. We use a lot of different CDs or money markets or cash alternatives to try to level out some volatility, as well as we use a lot of those fixed index annuities to where they give you, depending on the company, of course, they can give you 0% of the downside of the market, but they also can give you participation in the upside of the market. So they typically have some strong returns to them if the market does decent, and they kind of protect you from some of that downside of the market. Again, some of them have 0% losses to them. There's also different fixed annuities out there that are like a CD, right? They're 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, depending on some of those. And depending on, what time of the day you're listening to this, some of those rates can be pretty good. As well as there's different IULs, different ETFs, different market strategies. There's a lot of different ways to kind of diversify that. So I would say definitely give us a call. I'd love to spend some time with you and kind of zero in on what type of, are we looking for income as well? What, all those different things that might come with this. But there's a lot of different things you can do to prepare yourself for a possible recession. Again, whether that's this year or in 5 years, I always feel it's important to kind of understand how your portfolio is protected, how it would look during a good market, as well as how it could potentially look during a down market, and get some realization on what that would look like.
There's some really good opportunities in some of the things that Logan just mentioned, and hope you will follow it up with a phone call, Steve, and get an appointment for a conversation, a discovery meeting. It's 888-823-PLAN, 888-823-PLAN. Another question here from Ernie, and Ernie is in Palm Springs. Ernie says, my daughter just had twins, and we're blown away by the cost of daycare that they're facing for two babies. My wife is thinking about retiring a year earlier than planned to take care of the grandchildren instead of letting them pay more than $2,000 a month for childcare. Could I just work a year longer than we had planned to accommodate this, or is it more complicated than that? And first of all, Logan, you know what it means to be a recent parent and everything. Can you imagine that if you had two instead of one?
Yeah, it's funny. You kind of got on my train of thought there. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah, it's just so expensive out there for any of the parents out there that have younger kids. Just because wages and everything has gone up. I mean, a lot of the cost of care is very expensive, Ernie. So I feel your pain on that one. One thing I would say is it's something to look at. I have actually had a couple clients that have done something similar to this. And again, what I would say is it always depends on your situation. We got to analyze how much money are we leaving on the table by, you working longer or your wife retiring early. What does the Social Security look like? Pensions? What is the 401k or 457? How much contributions are we putting in there? What does that look like? And how does that really impact things? And again, looking at that from a broad scope of how does it affect the overall plan? And I had a couple clients, actually had two this year, where it was like, hey, I get it. Based off your current scenario, it's really not even going to hurt you that bad. It really wouldn't make a difference if you're ready to go. You're in a good situation, you could do it. And I've had a couple clients where it's like, man, it could potentially affect, pension payouts or Social Security. We're 1 year away from the max or whatever it is. So there's a lot of deeper questions inside that we'd have to kind of break apart. But those are some of the things that I'd be looking at if I was your advisor or if I'm you thinking about this to kind of get that covered before pulling the trigger. I always say it's better to understand that beforehand, but it definitely might be something that might be in the realm of possibility if done correctly and everything's looked at.
Absolutely. Our last question today is from Barbara in Big Bear. And Barbara says, my brother seems to think that my investments are all wrong. He says he's invested in completely different stuff. Now, he's not a financial advisor, but he definitely knows more than I do. Would it be wise to defer to his experience?
Yeah, great question, Barbara. It's really tough to say. I always say it's most of the time the people giving you advice in the family, they mean well. A lot of them aren't trying to screw you over or aren't trying to do bad by you. But a lot of them don't, like you said, it's not their day job. I always tell people, I have a lot of family members, but if they're not a tax expert, I don't ask them for tax questions. That's just not what I do, right? Yeah. And same if they've never been in construction, I'm not asking them how to build my house if they've never built one, So it's something where you want to make sure you're utilizing professionals, and it's okay to get some generic advice and maybe get their input on something. But I always say I would definitely leave that up to the professionals because, a lot of the different tools and services that are out there, you can't even do yourself. I always tell people like a lot of the, private equity REITs that are out there, structured notes, some of the insurance products, a lot of that stuff isn't even something you can do on your own. So I always feel it's very important. And of course, we hope you give us a call, and hopefully we're a good fit to work together. But it's definitely important that you give somebody a call and find a financial advisor that you could build that relationship and trust with to work with and craft that plan for you to make sure it's fit for your situation. Because again, your brother-in-law or brother might not be trying to hurt you, but it's just something where his advice might not be he might not have as much information or education behind it as you might like with somebody making those decisions for your retirement plan. So yeah, give us a call. I'd love to bounce some ideas off you and kind of get an idea of your situation. And like I said, hey, maybe we could be a great fit to work together and start that relationship.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one more thing to your answer to Barbara's question. That is the fact that, what your brother may be doing may be great, but what he's doing may not be right for you because it's all individual, as we have said 1,000 times on this show.
Yeah, it's funny you brought that up, Ron. I actually had a client the other day where it was like, yeah, my brother says that she laid out like a list of these stocks she had wrote down. And they were all good stocks, really good companies, but they were super aggressive stocks. A lot of them were either newer IPOs that had just been listed or very aggressive, I would say, on the risk scale. And I asked her, well, what if your account, this is what that stock's down this year to date? And she goes, oh my gosh, I'd have a stomach ache. I don't know if I'd be able to sleep at night, right? So everybody's risk is different. Everybody's situation is different. And it's just so important to get the right perspective on your situation, like you were saying, Ron, and making sure that the decisions you're making have the education and backing behind them to make sure it's the right fit for you moving forward.
Well, I would certainly hope that Barbara and Ernie and Steve will give you a call, and we say that to everybody listening to the show today. Why not call Regari Financial and arrange to have a discovery meeting with Logan Sadler? Now, it's important to know you will not be passed off to anybody else. The conversation you have will actually be with Logan Sadler, the same guy you hear on the show here. There's no cost for this. No obligation. It is simply a service that Logan offers to everybody. 888-823-PLAN is your number to call to make that happen. That's 888-823-7526. But the easiest way to remember it is by using the word PLAN. 888-823-PLAN. I'm Ron Stutz along with Logan Sadler. And Logan, it's been my pleasure to hang out with you for a while here. I hope the rest of your holiday weekend goes well. And I will talk to you again next week.
Yeah, Ron, I'm already looking forward to it. And, my favorite day of the week here is Radio Week, so I'm going to be ready and be prepared and ready to give you guys a good show.
Join us again for the next edition of the Financial Beat with Logan Sadler, Regari Financial, because the beat always goes on.
The information provided is for educational purposes only and is not intended as investment advice for anyone. All information discussed is believed to be from reliable sources. However, we make no representation as to its completeness or accuracy. The views presented today are those of BD Financial Group and do not necessarily represent the views of AlphaStar Capital Management, LLC. The opinions expressed are subject to change without notice and do not constitute financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult with your financial professional before executing any financial strategy. Investment advisory and financial planning services are offered through AlphaStar Capital Management, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. AlphaStar and BD Financial Group are independent entities. SEC registration does not constitute an endorsement of the firm by the Commission, nor does it indicate that the advisor has attained a particular level of skill or ability.